This week on NintenDomain, is there full frontal nudity on the Switch now? And Pac-Man goes chasing ghost trains again.
The shadow remains cast.
We got Switch dicks.
Welcome to NintenDomain. This is episode 110. We are your hosts. I'm Trey, finally beat Darker Side Johnson.
I'm Jereme, 480i, Super Mario Sunshine Mikowski.
I'm John, probably should get a new game sometime, Knitter.
Yeah.
Well, wait, you don't have any new games?
No new games to report this week. Big surprise.
I don't think you've bought one since last year, since the 2017 list of games.
Yeah, I don't remember what was the last one.
Yeah.
It might have been around Christmas time.
Rocket League.
I can talk about that again if you want me to.
No.
Is that the last game you bought?
No.
No,
it wasn't Oxenfree the last game you bought.
Might have been Oxenfree or Mom Hid My Game. One of those. It's been a long time, so yeah.
Well, last game
you didn't get Night in the Woods or Through the Woods or whatever it's called.
I didn't get that one, no.
Last game I got was Outlast, but we'll talk about that in the second half of the show.
I thought about getting Pac-Man. My trouble is that I'm at the point now where my memory is full.
Oh, yeah.
So if I want to get a new one like that, I have to get a new memory card. So that would be what I would spend the money on next.
Yeah, you got
or delete something you don't play.
Got to clean the fridge, man.
I could, but the fridge is not that big to begin with the onboard memory of the Switch. So yeah. I just got to get a new card.
I've been running out of space for my 200 gig card, so I'm at the point of deleting games because I don't want to buy a 400 gig card. Because I'm like, yeah. Well, I mean, I have like 30 gigs left and a 200 gig card. But I'm just like, I'll just cut some of them. But anyway, this is your this is your first place for Nintendo news and fun stuff that people say about Nintendo and gameplay and all that stuff. NintenDomain, we're here to tell you all that fun stuff. But let's talk about the news. Well, let's talk about personal news. What we all want to know about, what Jereme said in his intro, is you got your cable, right?
I finally got it. No, it's not so much a cable. Although, to be fair, the guy's business is Zelda Pro Cable.
I thought you said his name last week. It was like Zelda something.
Yeah, it's right here. It's Zelda X Pro. But yeah, the name of his company that he's chosen to probably file taxes or whatever off of what he makes off of this.
Yeah.
Is cable company. But it's a very small device. It's probably about the size of, I'd say, like a box of raisins. Like that you would have had as a kid in your lunch. Mm-hmm. It's a very small, little tiny thing. And it just plugs into the digital video out on the back of the original model of the GameCube. Mm-hmm. And it works like a charm. Like, one thing I didn't know at first, so the first game I booted up, which just happened to already be in my GameCube, was Twin Snakes.
Yeah.
So I booted that up, and I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, well, that looks cool, but it doesn't look great. And then I looked at the little instruction sheet that came with the adapter, and it said, you have to boot it up in progressive scan mode. And to do that, you have to hold down the B button on the GameCube. So I did that, and it looked so good. Like, my comparison being the actual, like, menu, where you, like, set the options menu. Like, the text was a lot clearer and easier to read once I did that. So, so I put it in progressive scan mode and it looked beautiful. And so I tried a few different games out. I went straight to Mario Sunshine after that because I've never seen that in HD before, on my own. And it looked pretty good. I mean, it's still like pixelated. It doesn't upscale it.
Those Robo Ducks look really Robo.
I was just looking at those ugly ass Piantas and shooting water at their faces.
Yeah, their giant penis noses look like
They look like way
much
uglier in HD. I'll tell you that much.
Is it? And that has progressive scan too, right? The Mario Sunshine does.
Yeah, it does. And one game that surprised me that has it is Monkey Ball 2. That was the next one I booted up and went right into progressive scan mode, and it looks incredible. I was playing Monkey Pool or Monkey Billiards. I forgot how fun that game is. And
yeah.
So I played that for like half an hour today in HD. Just like marveling at how good it looked and how fun that game still is. Like, I was having a good time with it. So Yeah, I love it. I'm going to put some video up of maybe Monkey Ball 2, or maybe I'll just go through and show like some clips from a few different games. I thought about doing like a comparison scan of like the two so you could see the difference, but I kind of don't want to do that because that's been done a lot on YouTube already.
Sure. Well, but not for your particular product. It's mostly that Eon thing.
Right. So I don't know. I might give it a try. What's kind of cool is that other product hooks into both jacks at once, and it may be for stability, it may be to hijack the audio from the standard AV, whatever, the AV one, the other one.
Yeah.
But with this one, I can actually run the HD and the other one out, so I can record two video signals at once with it, and then I could put those side by side really easily.
Oh, okay.
They'd be recorded simultaneously.
Oh, you can't actually send out. Well, I guess you'd have. One of the videos that I saw said that you had to. On the original one, if you had an original component cable, you had to send out video for that and also get audio from the regular plug at the same time to get the audio or whatever. So if that were the case, then they would have both been being used at the same time. Because I was surprised because I didn't think, I don't know, I've never tried it, but I figured PlayStation 3 that has the two inputs, I figured that you couldn't use them both at the same time, but I've never really tried it, so I don't know.
This is what I've heard. I haven't tried it yet. But in the original video I watched that made me buy this, the Metal Jesus Rocks guy ran the signal out simultaneously. Well, he was using two different Elgatos, but I think I can do it through OBS because you can have multiple video signals.
Yeah.
I think I could actually just do it straight through, have one going through my USB port and one through my Elgato. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm gonna try that just to show the difference, but it looks really good and I'm happy with it so far. I don't even know, I feel like I got a new system.
Yeah.
My GameCube feels new to me. One of the games I really want to go back to are the Bait and Kados games because they had really, they were really hard to, it was really hard to read some of the print on the cards and stuff in that game because of the resolution, and it had a lot of pre-rendered backgrounds, so if it was zoomed really far out, it was hard to make out what the hell was going on, and so I want to try it and see if it looks a whole lot better in HD, and it might be a more enjoyable game.
Do you have the Resident Evil remake? I would like to see that.
I do.
RE4 or RE1?
The one.
Yeah, I have it. I do have it. I will show it if I think to, but they've done a remake of that game. They've done a remake of that remake in HD already. Yeah. So that's already happened. So mostly I've been trying to look at games that I have not seen in HD yet. So like Mario Sunshine, Metal Gear Solid, Twin Snakes, and I think that the RPGs. I want to try Tales of Symphonia. I want to see what that looks like. Of course, once again, I wanted to check out Wind Waker, but we've seen that in HD on the Wii U already, so.
Yeah.
They can make a very interesting comparison, though. How does it actually stack up to a proper remaster or whatever on Wii U versus the GameCube? You could do a side-by-side thing. That'd be fascinating.
Mm-hmm. A side-by-side-by-side.
Mm-hmm.
You could do all of
How
them.
much did the adapter cost?
It was 100 bones, right at it. You just charged $100. And, I think with taxes and shipping, it was $112. So it was not cheap. The other one that's on the market costs $150, I think.
Oh.
So this version's cheaper, and some say it's superior. I don't know. I haven't tried both. I don't really know. But
you should buy the other one and record them both at the same time.
I'll buy the other one.
Get another GameCube, get another Elgato, get another computer, and just have them all running. You got money.
Well, here's the other thing I'm going to do. I'm going to buy one of the HD Super Nintendos. I'm going to run a Game Boy game through the Super Game Boy through the HD Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I'm also going to run it through the GameCube through the Game Boy player through the HD adapter.
Yeah.
Then I'm also going to have the other GameCube with another Game Boy player running it just straight through the component.
Yeah.
And looking to see which one's better.
It'll be a race to the finish, or a race to the best looking HD thing there is.
Yeah, have you tried any of the Game Boy Advance games yet?
No, I haven't.
Player.
I'm excited to.
Yeah.
I haven't yet.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see that, because that'll definitely those will look good. And that's the only way you can make those look good is through that particular attachment because you couldn't do it any other way, through any component in a different system or anything like that.
Unless you got that expensive ass component cable for the GameCube.
Yeah, unless you got that. So I wish I would have. If I could go back in time, I'd tell myself to buy that thing. But after I heard,
did you see it?
No, it was available. I just didn't get it because I never didn't have an HD TV or never saw one before. I didn't really think that it was going to be a hot commodity. You could order it. You ordered it directly from Nintendo. I
remember going to. I think we went to Kentucky.
Did they have it?
They had an HD TV. That's the first time I saw.
Oh yeah, they did. Because they were talking about how, like, the screen burn-in happens no matter what.
Yeah, so, like, we were playing on that giant HD TV. It looked really good, but yeah, there's, like, burn-in. There's a little bit of burn-in on the edges still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they were trying to I remember they were, like, trying to zoom it in and, like, move some of the stuff around. Because weren't we playing, like, Super Mario All-Stars at one point? And he's like, I gotta move it forever.
Yeah, we were playing emulators through the TV. I don't think we were playing on actual, like, native consoles.
Yeah.
Because when we played the Simpsons game, the Simpsons arcade.
Oh no, that was the second. That was the second time we stayed with Brian.
Oh, okay.
But which he lives here now in Chicago. I could probably get him on the show. He owns he owns like a Japanese toy store like down the street from me. But there was a time we went before where they had it on a different HDTV, but that was a different house. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I forgot about that because we played Resident Evil 0 on that TV. So we had that. We got to see that in HD. Which I didn't even think about it back then. I was more about like playing the game because we never played the game before. But you could do that. You need to do a video of like the dance between the two characters that you did when you would like have them talk to each other and all that. Just do a whole video. It'll be like a whole story of Claire and whatever his name is, Randy.
Billy, I think, right?
I don't know.
It is Billy.
I just made up a hick name for him. I just called him Randy. But
Billy Bob.
Yeah, Billy Bob, just do some sort of long, like one act play with both of them on the screen and just have them talking back and forth, talking to each other. That'll get you 1,000 hits at least, right? I'll watch it. That's all you need.
Whatever the YouTube Grammys are, or the YouTube, Emmys.
The Emmys?
I'm all over. Yeah, not the Grammys.
The Emmys or the U-Tammys? Whatever
the
they are.
The U-Tammys, the Tammy Wynettes.
Yeah.
You could make it a musical, then you'd win a YouTube Grammy.
Yeah. The only person that had that was Chocolate Rain. He had a Grammy.
Hold on. Move away from the mic to breathe.
Yeah. All right. Super off topic of YouTube. There was we were going to talk about news, weren't we? That was our plan. Talk about Nintendo news.
We were talking about stuff we bought. Yeah, that's all I.
Well, I was
this week.
I was going to say, like, for gameplay stuff, I was going to do that for the second half of the show because we didn't really have a topic yet.
I did buy another Game Boy. SP AGS 101.
But you didn't buy that portable one, the micro?
No, I bought this one. It was $40. It was really cheap, so I had to buy it. And it had a scratch screen, so I just had to replace the screen, which I already had an extra one. It's not the screen itself, but the lens that goes over the top of it. I just had to replace that.
Oh, okay.
So it took
you're totally off this Game Boy Micro?
It was still there. I picked it up and looked at it. I have to get one eventually, like, to have all the Game Boys. I need one. I'm not like going for special editions either. I'm not even going to try. I just want one of each edition of the Game Boy. So I need a Play It Loud one still. I don't have one of those, and I need a Game Boy Micro. Yeah. I think I have them all. Of the Game Boys, I don't have all the DSs yet. I don't have the DS.
I know you have an I, right?
Yeah, I have a DSi. I have a DSi. I have a DSi XL. I have a regular DS. I have a DS Lite. I guess I don't have a 3DS XL yet.
Yeah, or a new 3DS XL, like either of them.
Yeah. I don't have any of the new 3DSs. Man, I still have a shit ton of shit to buy. All right, so I read this article. Do I still have it? I thought I had it pulled up, but I don't.
We can talk about your cat's problem. Been licking itself for like 15 minutes straight now.
Oh, that cat. It's a skin disease. So I guess at the University of Freiburg in Germany, some people set an AI, I think it's called a client. That's what you call like an AI bot or whatever. Or an agent. It's an agent. It's called an AI agent. And they set it to learn how to play Q*bert, but it's the Q*bert that was on one of the Atari home systems. I don't think it's the original, arcade version.
Arcade.
But, so they set the AI to beating that, and the AI played for a while, and I think it was a case of, like trial and error where it learned how to play slowly, machine learning or whatever they call it. But eventually, like, they came back and they looked and the score was really, really high, and the computer was only on the second level. Well, turns out that it found a bug in the game where if it purposefully, like, killed itself a couple of times in a row and then jumped around like on these tiles in a seemingly random way, all of them would start flashing, and then it could just jump back and forth, and the score would just start skyrocketing. So the AI, saw the way to win the game is getting a high score, which is true for old arcade games.
Yeah.
Humans see, like, we want to get, like, as far as we can in the levels while getting the high score. Well, this computer program was just like, I'll just get all these points in the second world because I can. So that's really interesting. Like, and it's a glitch that hadn't been discovered before, but the AI program found it, or it hadn't been documented as being found before. So it's really interesting. I saw the article on TheVerge.com. So maybe look that article up and check it out for yourself. There's a video that shows what it does, and it's fascinating because it just looks like it's randomly hopping around, but something about those random movements is actually triggering the glitch in the code that breaks the game.
So it knocked poor Doris's score out now. Like she doesn't have the highest Qbert score anymore.
Well, see, I think hers was in the arcade version.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say she died 10 years ago. So I mean,
is that the poor little old lady from the
maybe this
Kong?
Is her,
yeah, Doris.
Maybe this AI is her. Maybe it's like her consciousness uploaded.
She's been reincarnated.
She's joined the Matrix.
AI that can.
She's like, God damn it! You put me in the wrong version of the game.
Yeah. She's become one with the Matrix or the internet or what happens at the end of most cyberpunk stories. Yeah. The main character dies and puts its consciousness into the internet. That's basically what happened to her.
Well, like at the end of Powder.
I thought he became one with the world, or with the
World Wide Web,
with the rain cloud. I didn't think he went into the internet. Did he go into the internet?
What they knew of the internet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's an X-Files episode that's a total cyberpunk episode, and that's what happens is the person that they're looking for, he basically puts his consciousness into the internet and lives forever on knowledge and and really bad ads and all sorts of quizzes about what member of the Game of Thrones you are, what character you are, and all that other dumb shit that's on the internet. Mm-hmm. And listen to us, NintenDomainPodcast.com. Yeah, no, that's crazy. I know that they're getting, I thought I saw something about a artificial intelligence that was taught to play Mario 64, stuff like that. So, I mean, once they learn to play games, they're gonna come after us. It's gonna be Skynet.
Well, we used to think our brains automatically jump to that point where the weaponized robots are killing us off because, they don't need us anymore. They can make more robots to build more of themselves and all that shit. We're skipping all the parts where they take over our Twitch streams and our speed runs and they ruin our YouTube and Twitch careers.
Yeah.
And they really break us down morally before they even start shooting us.
They really hammer it home. They're just well, you sped run this in whatever time, but I can do it in 2 minutes. So fuck you.
Yeah. Mario 64. If you just jump backwards at the beginning, you win. No one ever tried that before.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And nobody ever did. You have to jump backwards and you go through time and somehow you go forward and backwards at the same time. It's crazy. And all of a sudden you end up with 100 stars and Bowser's defeated. Did you see that Peter Molyneux has a game coming out for Switch? Mr. fucking Fable.
I just saw that, yep.
Yeah, Trail, the Frontier Challenge.
It's already out, isn't it?
Is it? I didn't even see it.
I heard that it was out today was a surprise launch.
Oh, no? Well, what came out today? Well, what came out yesterday was the game that I purchased for the week.
I didn't
Outlast.
see it. I looked on the eShop.
But no, it's not.
It might be on there now.
It's not on the eShop. I looked at it before. The only recent release I saw was a Portal. That Portal Bridge game is on there now. Mm-hmm. So, I know Jereme wants to buy that because he really loves bridge games.
I want to try it for sure.
I
thought
Portal
about getting it.
I want to try that.
The thing is, when I saw that it was
only 15.
a port of a mobile game, I don't know. I know we need to support the Switch and buy games on the Switch, but if I can get this on my phone for 99 cents or free, maybe I'll play it that way instead.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could totally get this, John. It's only 158 megabytes. I think you can fit it on your system. That's
Is that good? How much is it?
It's $15. It's $14.99. It's the prime, indie price.
It is.
I don't know
how.
It's
a good price. It's just that I might want to play it elsewhere if it's cheaper.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what kind of game it is, because I don't really necessarily mind certain mobile games being on there, stuff that maybe I played and I wish I had a controller for. I feel like having a controller to play games like that is super important to me, and I think that's a cool thing. Because you played games on your phone before that you thought especially the ones that have the control pad that's on the touchscreen. Or buttons that are on the touchscreen, I always want that to not be there, and I want to just play with a regular controller. And I think it's worth the extra amount of however much to get that. And some versions are better on whatever, depending. I don't know. I know Darkest Dungeon, that's a mobile game, and you could get it cheaper on mobile, but you don't get all the DLC and all that shit. That's on the Switch.
Right.
So
it says
there is
it's $4.99 on the Google Store, and I don't know exactly what that means, but
yeah, I don't know.
No, it may very well be a great game that is better on the Switch. So
yeah, and that is like hopefully it doesn't.
It did get good review. Like it's gotten good reviews across the board that I've seen.
And there's no like weird. It's no like weird playing way. I just don't want the same thing to happen to you like the other bridge game, with the weird pointer.
Well, that's why. Really I mean, that was a big reason why I didn't buy it. I almost got it today, and that's one thing that threw me off. That, and I'm distracted by GameCube right now.
Well, now you have all this GameCube stuff. You haven't gotten a TV yet, John, for your old games?
No, I haven't got one yet.
I was wondering if you had done that or not.
No, not yet. I'll think about it pretty soon.
I mean, if you don't get like a 4K TV or like just like a regular HD, they're pretty cheap. If you're looking, I mean, I'm sure
just
like
go on Craigslist and see what's there.
Yeah, I'm sure like you're, you got to do the move and all that, but you can get one for not bad. You can probably get a nice one for $100 or less. I don't know. They're just a lot cheaper now. If you're not going for like the top of the line 4K thing,
I think so. I might also just wait till I get another place. Right now, I kind of want to concentrate, and Switch is enough of a distraction to me.
Oh yeah,
I have other projects and stuff I'm working on, so I can't imagine if I have all my systems out, it might just be too much.
You won't know what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I figured there's probably a deliberate edge to you not having a TV. You would have one by now if you wanted one.
Exactly.
If you really wanted one, yeah. Or you'd have like 2, or 3, like I have. You'd have a bunch of TVs. I guess like we probably have like 6, maybe more than that in the whole house. I don't know. There's a lot. We have a lot of TVs.
I mean, I have 2 TVs and a computer monitor, which is basically a TV. So
yeah,
and I'm just by myself in one house, so it can get out of control pretty fast.
Yeah, I like all my TVs though. I think they're all
I do
great.
too.
They're totally.
I
great.
bought a second dock because of that, so I could just switch my Switch around.
That is pretty awesome though. I like the whole idea of being able to use any Switch in any dock too. That's super cool. Like when you were over and you just put your Switch in the dock and boom, you got it on the TV.
Were you talking about that last week where you were like playing the same game but you were using your own Switch?
Oh no, we were talking about that video, the Laser Time video, where they like recorded themselves doing a race through Darker Side, but they just would switch their Switches. We're like, this is my Switch, and they had different Mario costumes on, so like who's playing what. But yeah, you could just alternate a stream like that with 2 different Switches, which is cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, totally rad. Yeah, so that Peter Molyneux game, I don't know why it's not out yet, but it's definitely not out. Because the only other game I saw was that, I just saw that, the Portal Bridge game.
And isn't that one game supposed to come out today or tomorrow? The, one based on the 3D Mayan platformer or whatever?
Yeah, Mulaka comes out tomorrow. I'm probably going to end up getting it just because last week I said I was going to get it to play.
I'm getting it.
To play it online. Air hockey. Yeah, the only thing new that I saw is Payday air hockey. This air hockey game looks bad. Air hockey Payday 2 Portal and Outlast, which came out so secretly on Tuesday. That was kind of crazy. That one like just popped out of nowhere. And there's a funny thing in the Outlast game. I mean, there's a lot of funny things in the Outlast game, which we'll talk about later. But there's like an option to go, like at the bottom of the title screen it says buy Outlast 2. And Outlast 2 isn't out yet. And I was like, I wonder what happens if you click on that. And I click on it and I just get stuck in this endless loading of the eShop. It just won't just load. It'll just keep doing the swipe thing back and forth forever. That's basically what happens. So you get stuck in
forever.
Yeah. But it's supposed to come out the 27th, right after the cutoff for the Wii Shop points, which I mentioned that to John too, because I know that you have a Wii. And I've been trying to figure that into my budget, because I thought it was going to be this week, and I'm like, oh shit, like I need to drop like, I don't know. I don't know what games I want to get, but I thought about just like putting $50 on there or something in case there's something that I want to get. Later that I found out about. There's actually a couple lists, like Jereme Parrish did a list of stuff that you can find on Retronauts. Like,
cool.
Like probably the most expensive, like WiiWare virtual console stuff that are on there. And I found a couple other.
Blood.
Yeah, Rondo Blood's on there, of course, but there's like a bunch of other stuff too. That's like stuff that, would cost you a lot. Like Dynasted Kid or whatever it is. Dynasted Hero, which is another version of, the Wonder Boy, I think, the Dragon's Trap and all that, which I didn't get that one. I think I got the Genesis version, but there was one version that came out like multiple times. But Wonder Boy, what is it, Wonder Boy 4? The one with the girl on it? Or the Wonder Girl, or Monster World 4, whatever it's called. That's like a hard one to get that you can get on there that I'm definitely going to get. But yeah, I thought about just like putting some money on there, like before the cutoff gets, and then just, downloading everything on there, because who knows, like some of those games might never come out on anything else. Especially
we
some
could
of
do
those
an
old...
episode on like the Wii games you have to have before they're gone.
Well, I got to get that Moto Heroes. I wanted to get that one.
It's pretty good.
Which, if you listen to the WRAT radio, there's a Moto Heroes song on there.
Oh, nice.
Put that on there for you, man. I try to put songs on for everyone. Everyone gets a song. Everyone I know who knows that I know they like a weird thing, I put it on there. That's how most of my WRT radio episodes work. But there was
the Peter Molyneux game is out in Europe.
Okay.
That's what I was reading.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not out here, and I don't think it's. Is it on the coming soon yet?
I do not have my Switch with me.
Where is it? In the other room?
It's in my other dock.
Yeah, no, like, all it's showing, I don't see it on there yet. It's showing, there's a bunch of, here, hold on. I just want to read. There's like a major, there's a whole lot of crap coming out again. So tomorrow we have Mulaka, we have a normal lost phone, or Who is Sam?
Normal
it could be
lost
either.
phone?
A normal lost phone. A normal lost phone is what it's called. You have just found a phone. This is what it says. You have just found a phone. Now find out the truth. It's a game about exploring the intimacy of an unknown person whose phone was found by the player. That might be interesting. It's only a $6 game, and it's like
that sounds like it was definitely a phone game.
Look at their nudie
a lost phone. Yeah. So Mulaka, normal lost phone, the Packet Queen, hashtag, Little Triangle, Detention, Paper Wars, Cannon Fodder, A Whole New World, but not Aladdin.
The Aladdin game.
Damascus Gear Operation Tokyo. Wow. Subsurface Circular, Poison Thud Card, or Poisoft Thud Card, makes even less sense. Guilt Battle Arena, and Totes the Goat.
Totes the Goats.
Is what's coming out tomorrow. That's and not even to mention I know there's a Neo Geo game. Was it Sengoku 2? It's the sequel to that really weird arcade one that they had on there before where you change into different beings, like depending on what marbles you collect. It's a really weird ass game. Like I have it for the SNK Volume 1 game for Wii, and I played it and I thought it was incredibly bizarre and had a hard time figuring out what was going on. But the sequel to that's coming out. So if you want a really bizarre beat 'em up arcade game, that'll be out tomorrow. Same sort of thing, $8, probably only like 100 megs or something like that.
I'd say Mulaka's top of my radar.
Sengoku. But yeah, I mean, pick of the week definitely for me is Outlast, I guess, until I play Mulaka. We'll see if that one's better. But yeah, definitely both of those were stuff I had my eye on. Outlast was just like out of nowhere. I just couldn't. I mean, it makes it extra scary, right?
That kind of was a surprise release, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, here it is. Like no fanfare whatsoever, just like boom on the eShop.
Well, I saw on the subreddit, I think it was yesterday, right, when it came out, it was like,
it came out on
okay,
Tuesday.
yeah, on Tuesday it said, Outlast is coming to the Switch, and I saw that article, and then like a couple spots below it said Outlast is out now on the Switch. Like,
yeah,
so people had found out about it and then released the same day.
Yeah, I read something. I think I read something on Reddit about that where it was like, oh, it's out, and it was out in Europe, and then it showed up, and then all of a sudden it was out. I was like, okay.
How is the game?
Well, I mean, I wanted to talk about. I'll talk about it in detail in our second half. In the second half, where we talk about games that we played and beat, which I know Jereme beat one, and I beat like 3 games.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about.
And I opened more Amiibo.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. James Jackson from NBC, I just want to mention him. He made like a huge list of all the stuff that was coming out in March, including like the cutoff day. And what was it? In like 2 weeks, we have Kirby Star Allies coming out. So that's that's the big Nintendo release for March, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And Detective Pikachu 3 is the 23rd of March.
And the Amiibo.
Yeah, for as far as like big releases go. Outlast 2 is 327. There's a game called iZombie on here, which for a second I thought was Zombie U, and I was like, no way, but it's I hope it's not as I hope that iZombie isn't as bad as the movie iZombie. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but don't ever watch it. It's pretty awful.
It's based off the White Zombie song.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it would make our show is already pretty explicit, but there's a part in it that's pretty much, did you ever watch iZombie with me, Jeremy? I watched it when I was at LCC.
No, but you told me about it.
Mark and
it was
I
part
used
of,
to, we
yeah,
watched
it was part
it.
of your like Halloween marathon one year.
Yeah, we watched it and it was weird. It involves like a horrible, incident involving masturbation. It's basically what happens in the movie. It's almost as good as Castle Freak. That was another weird one. These were all like, Fangoria movies, like Fangoria produced movies. Alright, let's take a break real quick and then we'll come back and talk about what we played and another secret topic.
Super secret.
let's talk about the elephant in the room for a minute here. So, we've talked about, well, we haven't really talked about it, but we all know that there's been some violence going on in the world nowadays. And, sometimes people like to point the finger at, video games, at violence in video games and all that fun stuff. And, I thought maybe we could take a moment to talk about that on this here podcast. I know there's been, some terrible things that happened in Florida and all that, but, just what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, what can we already say that hasn't been said already as far as people are talking about all these different solutions and things that they should do, whatever. What should we do? How should we react? And there's been some ridiculous suggestions, such as arming the teachers and everything, but...
Well, that's the worst, that's probably the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like, more guns is always the best way to solve gun problems. But it's... it's been a thing for a while. Like, it reminds me of an old, like, trauma joke from, like, Toxic Avenger 4, where it's like, where they had, like, a fake news thing, and it's like, they're just making fun of them, like, blaming, like, rap music and video games and violence in movies and all that, and for that type of thing. And
right.
But in that one, it's more about, like, oh, well, what about violence in the news? Like, they show that all the time, and, like, what about the ATF and all that stuff? But a lot of other countries have experienced the same stuff that we do. Like, they still see the same violent movies, they still play the same violent games, but they have stricter gun laws, so I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it. But I don't want to get super preachy on here. But a lot of people...
The thing we want to talk about is that Trump rolled it into the news today, the old argument of violent video games cause violent behavior.
Yeah.
And the quote that he said was, I got it right here.
Oh, God.
He said, I'm hearing more and more people say the level of violence on video games is really shaping young people's thoughts.
Do you think
that's always? I'm hearing it from a lot of people, or a lot of people are saying. Like,
a lot of people.
I thought it was
going to be. Quotes start with that.
I thought it was going to be something
whatever
like
he saw on, Fox and Friends that morning.
Yeah, I thought he was going to say like, I've heard people talk about these video games. Have you seen those? I've never played one. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like if it doesn't have a cheeseburger popping out of it, he probably won't play it.
So he'll play Burger.
He played McKids. He was a big fan of that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's so what was he saying, that maybe we put a ban on that? And that's been a thing for so long. And I remember, like, I always love those old, like, the old video footage, like the old news footage when they talk about violence. Then they always show that same fatality where Kano pulls the heart out. Like, they used to play that all the time in the 90s when it's like, video game violence, is it causing things or whatever? They would always show that.
It's funny to look at that old stuff too and be like,
violence.
It's red squares.
Well, it's also kind of like, well, that thing in particular, you could be like, well, I mean, Mortal Kombat made me want to, like, burn people with my skull, but I couldn't do it. I tried to rip my face off, but it never worked, Or like, have you ever
shouted at some guy across the street, come here, and nothing came out of my hand and dragged him over.
I ripped my friend's spine out and I got grounded. I was in trouble.
I was gonna say, you ever tried to pull a spine out of a person? It's really hard to do.
It's hard, but it's kind of funny if you do it right.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
But no, I will say, my parents were kind of proponents back in the day of, like, keeping me away from violent games, so I was kind of sheltered in some regards, but only, like, for a brief period of time, like Mortal Kombat. Like, I don't know. I think it was just when it was, like, hot in the media and, like, it was probably being talked about at church and stuff at the time, and I'm not trying to say my parents just totally follow that, but I think just Mortal Kombat had whipped everyone to an hysteria at that point.
Yeah, even Nintendo.
So I wasn't allowed to listen to CDs that had parental advisory stickers, and I wasn't allowed to play the games that had blood in them and stuff. So I totally remember, like, that just making me want all that even more as a kid. So
of course.
I was resourceful. And I didn't feel bad, like, hunting those things down. Maybe I should have morally, but I didn't. And I, like, played Mortal Kombat whenever I got a chance. I played Primal Rage. I played, like, the bloody games whenever I could. And I watched Beavis and Butthead at my friend's house. And I borrowed friends' CDs and taped them onto tapes if I wanted to listen to them, Like, I had a portable CD player so I could listen to whatever I wanted, really. Like, so I think that there's no direct link between violence and games and, like, how people behave. I don't think there is. Maybe I'm talking myself into a corner here as far as that's concerned, because I don't have research and data to prove that. But I will say that by restricting something in that regard, as far as like video games are concerned, like you just make kids want to do it more.
Yeah, that is true.
It makes it seem even cooler because, and same with rated R movies. Like you want to sneak into rated R movies because you're not supposed to go into them. Mm-hmm. Even if they're bad movies that are just gratuitous or whatever, you still think it's cool because you're not supposed to do it. And that's part of being a kid, I think. And so, I don't know. I know like some like, Devil's Advocate might be like, well then regulating guns is just going to make people want guns more. Well, I'm not trying to say that, but I'm just talking about video games here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were talking about this like before we were recording too. I feel like more people point the finger towards games than movies. Like, cause violence is pretty much everywhere. Like violence is on TV, violence is on the news, violence is in movies, violence is in books. Like it's everywhere. Like why video games? And it probably because of the interactive nature of it, right? The
interactive nature plus still, the older generations. I mean, people older than at this point 50. Mm-hmm. The people who are running the government, maybe they don't play video games as much as people 50 and under, right? Mm-hmm. And so, whereas they watch movies and they understand, well, I've been watching movies since I was a kid and I didn't go, shoot somebody just because I saw Dirty Harry or whatever, So there's a level of misunderstanding just from the people who don't play any video games.
Because they've only they've only watched video games in the sense that they haven't.
They've only watched it or heard of it.
And they've seen the most offensive clips possible, But I remember back in the day when Mortal Kombat was a thing. Like I remember my parents being like, well, there's this game where you strangle a prostitute with a rope or something like that. And I was like, wait, what? And it turns out that was Night Trap they were talking about. I don't know if that even actually happens in Night Trap.
You never do. No, you have a...
But that was what they were referring to.
Yeah.
What is it?
In Night Trap, you have a ridiculous grabber thing. It looks like this, that toy that every kid had where you grab something, but it grabs the girl around the neck and it takes some blood from her. It's like the least violent, most comically acted thing. It's totally innocuous and inoffensive.
But I just remember that being like, in my head, I'm thinking, holy shit, like as a kid, I'm like, there's really these games out there where you like strangle prostitutes with a cord? Like, is that really a thing? Well, it turns out like eventually you could do that in Grand Theft Auto, but.
Right, and I've killed many hookers in Grand Theft Auto. And,
you could like punch them.
Maybe not with a cord. I don't know if a cord's a weapon, but it should be.
You get weapons from it, or I don't think there's a cord. I don't know. Me personally, like I was not really into the games that were like human on human violence. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those games, but the violent stuff that I liked more was the more obscure stuff, like Doom, like fighting giant demons, or just like the obscurity of Mortal Kombat. That's like all like B-movie stuff, like super over the top and all that. But I'm not saying that those games are bad. I just they weren't necessarily for me. But there's some stuff that you could like say, like like Manhunt, where kind of speaks in your ear and tells you to do certain things, and like. The longer you wait, you kill more. That's like but that's supposed to mess with your mind. It's supposed to make you feel bad about doing it and all that kind of stuff. So there are games like that sort of mess with you. But I don't think any of it necessarily cost anybody to actually act out. But, I mean, I don't think that was proven, but, I don't know. I don't follow a lot of the cases, but I don't think anybody could directly point their finger at that and say that was what it was that cost it.
Yep. There was a proposal by a legislator in Rhode Island who, after Parkland, he said that, there should be a tax on violent games, on basically, I guess, M-rated games.
Well, you know what?
Should have
I just want to say, you know what there should be a tax on?
What's that?
Bullets.
Bullets.
People, come on. Bullets and guns should be taxed. That's all I'm going to say.
Maybe that's
anyway, so there should be a high tax on violent games, is what he was saying, right?
Yeah. You know what else brings out aggression in people? Guns.
Yeah. Well, you know what else brings out aggression in people? Taxes. So, no matter what it was. Well, it's
taxes,
Yeah, well, it's like the taxes are so high here, like for cigarettes and stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of like, I like thinking of video games in the more healing way, which we talked about, like how it can be used to help people out. And actually, friend of the show, Janet, wrote an article about that, about how much video games can help like mental disease and stuff like that, which I'm totally witness to myself, because I've dealt with depression my entire life, and video games have actually really helped me out with that. So, I mean,
sure.
I feel like there's very positive aspects to it, and I feel like a lot of people put games in a corner, like in a bad way, now saying that like playing games too much is a mental disorder, or like, like the violence causing other violent acts and all that stuff, but video games was always, for me, it was something that helped me. It was an escapism, it helped me deal with the horribleness of life and my own depression and all that, and that's a good thing, I mean, if that was regulated or whatever, I don't think that's fair, for people.
I mean, I think, yeah, for sure, like, I think, being sensitive and young, and, obviously I didn't go through anything like these students had to deal with in Florida.
Yeah.
But I had traumatic events in my life growing up, and I mean, people died, and people that were close to me died, and like some of those times were like some of the darkest times that I remember as a kid. And I remember going to video games and those definitely being therapeutic, because not only are you like going into another world and kind of detaching yourself, but in the meantime, you're giving yourself time to heal because your time is elapsing, and there's certain things in life that's the only way to get through it is to just let time take over and the natural process of healing. But on top of that,
something else,
right. But on top of that, you're getting a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, you're also in a world that you can do good.
A lot of times I would go to the RPGs and stuff, like the story-driven stuff where you could grind and you could spend a whole lot of time like customizing it and like perfecting it and blah blah blah. And like those games, like Chrono Trigger, especially, was one that I remember like going to time and time again. Just like that stuff would be bad, and I would play Chrono Trigger, and I would just like I was in that world and I was happy, and yeah, sure, like within the game I would get sad, like sad stuff happens in the game, but at the end of it all, I like would turn the game off and I would have this sense of accomplishment. I got this done today. I did this. I'm this much closer to this goal that I haven't achieved before. I think in a broader sense, games really can be therapeutic. That's just my personal experience.
Sure, yeah, and actually sounds like from this article that I read about the kids at Parkland that maybe it's being therapeutic in the classroom, the video games. This is a quote from this article from NBC News. It says, in some classrooms, students sent Snapchat videos of their classmates marveling at Nintendo games that they had been allowed to play. And this is in reference to the fact that today was their first day back at school. So they had like therapy dogs. It sounds like they had 40 therapy dogs walking throughout the school. And from this sentence, looks like they were allowed to play video games in class. Mm-hmm. And the article to me kind of painted a picture of they're just letting the kids go back to school. Maybe getting back to the school in the building was kind of the objective for the day, and maybe for the coming days. I don't know. Yeah. But the fact that they're there and they can pet the dogs and they can play the video games and just
they can be around each other.
Each other, right.
And they've all shared that experience together, so they're healing together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a good thing,
Well, when I was, when I was younger, when I was like 12, I got hit by a car. Like I had a fairly, bad bike car accident thing. And I remember coming to in the hospital, and the doctor had Mario 3 hooked up, and this was like in the early 90s, but that was people were encouraged to do that, like coming out of, because I was like in intensive care and all that, and it was encouraged like for coordination and stuff like that. So in the early 90s, before the days of Mortal Kombat, they were into that. And all that, but and in the same way that what Jereme was saying is just one note I wanted to say on that is like that it's like the game world is almost a world that you can kind of control, or that you feel like you're in more control. So when you feel like trapped in a situation, or you're in a bad time of life and you're in a job that you hate but you have to work there, like for whatever reason, like video game can be a great escape for that, because you're in a world that you can kind of control and some that you can do positive things in, and it makes you feel better in that way. Even though you're not necessarily doing anything permanent in the real world, you feel like you are, it makes you feel better, That's just one thing I was going to touch on that, like the same sort of thing of, it just works great as escapism, and it can really help you, and it can be like a very, creative, inspiration too. Like I've been inspired by games to do other things, and I mean, I make stupid YouTube videos now because I love video games so much. I don't even make any money off of it. I just do it for the fun of it. Just because it's so cool that you can reach out and meet other people who do the same thing. And it's, I can't even imagine like growing up now, like with all the things that you have with Twitch and all that, like being like a nerd in the 90s, like you could actually like find a way to talk to people about shit without them not actually being in your school and all that. It's a complete side note, but I'm just saying we're in a great time now for that type of stuff.
Yeah, we didn't even like mention that in the broader sense, like video games as comfort could be like not even just playing them, but like, well, John was talking about like looking at Snapchat videos of other people playing games, or get on a special website devoted to, let's say you really love Pokemon, go to the Pokemon subreddit, and you can talk about Pokemon with a bunch of people that are obsessed about Pokemon.
Other people that love it too, yeah, and it's just awesome.
That's community too, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's awesome to meet people like that. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let's say I don't know where we're necessarily going.
Obviously,
I just
we're
wanna
pro
say,
video games.
Yeah, I just want to say that there are.
Right.
Yeah, I just want to say that there's just they shouldn't. Sometimes I think that people look at the media and too much of they look in video games and themselves as too much in a negative way, and there's a lot of positive aspects to it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of exasperation among the video game community when Trump said what he said this week. It's just like, really, this is an argument from at least 25 years ago.
It's from Mortal Kombat time, so it was like
right.
Mid to early 90s. So yeah, like 25 years. They've been saying it for a while. I mean, I guess things are more realistic now, but it's still like.
Well, before the blaming violence on video games, there right. So there's been different levels of outrage with video games. I mean, obviously the video game crash in the 80s, there's like a lot of outrage over that shit. But like when the Super Nintendo first came out, I mean, you guys have seen like videos and stuff of like people just doing articles about people being completely just pissed that you have to buy a new system to play all these new games, and they just couldn't get it through their heads why Nintendo's ripping me off. They're making me buy a new system in order to play the new games. Yeah. Blah blah blah. So that was one thing, and then later on, I remember maybe even before that was like Nintenditis, which was like a carpal tunnel type thing, and they were blaming like these kids having these injuries on video games even back then. Like,
well, people, the Wii got
there's always been something to blame video games for.
I was gonna say the Wii got attacked for that too. Mm-hmm. I remember people giving shit about the Wii because of motion control, and people end up hurting themselves, and it's like them blaming the system. It's like they never told you to like hit your couch with your hand while you were bowling or whatever. That's what you did that. But I mean, there were warnings all over the place saying like don't hit anybody.
You did not have to punch your boxer in the face.
Yeah, or break your TV with your remote or whatever,
Yeah, the Wii was actually the most violent system, like, by far.
It was, because that's the people who got hit the most. And that's probably the only time I think I ever hit anybody with a video game controller was on the Wii because of the arm swinging and all that, and actually breaking shit, and and I broke a controller by accident the same way. Like I hit the couch with it while I was bowling because I didn't know like the distance between me and the in front of the couch, and totally busted the front of the controller. But not intentional at all. It just happened. But yeah, that was when I didn't break controllers intentionally. That was in high scholl. But yeah, just so I mean, we don't know what the cause is of the events that happen, and of course, our hearts go out to all the people that had to deal with all that, and we're not trying to say that we have the answers. We're just trying to look at video games in a better light, I guess.
We'd rather look at video games as a healing thing than as a hurtful thing. And we're definitely, being a Nintendo themed podcast, we're just not seeing a lot of these, like Trey said earlier, he's not really into human on human violent games, and I'm kind of the same way. I mean, I've always been drawn to more quote unquote kiddie games. Like I like bright colors and, fantastical concepts and fantasy worlds, and, I mean, I'm more into that. I always have been. The older I've gotten, I'm still into that. But that doesn't mean I don't love, blowing some heads off zombies in Resident Evil. Like, that's so fun.
It's really fun, yeah.
And it's visceral, and it feels cool doing it, and it's satisfying, but it doesn't make me want to do that to humans. I just want to kill these fake zombies because it's fun to,
not at all.
do that.
Yeah.
Or, play an old Medal of Honor game and kill some Nazis. Like, surely it feels good to kill some Nazis, right? Mm-hmm. I guess you don't have to, eviscerate them and all that, but if the option's there, you can.
I've even played, VR zombie games. And, the zombies are there next to you, and you're taking them out. These are humanoid figures and all that stuff. And you got a gun controller actually shaped like a gun. Yeah. For all intents and purposes.
Or that chainsaw controller.
Blasting away at these humanoid figures. Mm. And in my head, still, I know it's a video game. I don't feel like it is really real, even though I'm seeing these characters right there in front of me. There's still a level of disconnect, even with something as realistic as VR.
Yeah.
I don't get it. So.
Yeah. Well, it's
just these people, they need to actually try these games or have conversations with people who play these games rather than running off at whatever.
It's normal. We've seen it our whole lives, and it was happening before we were born. There's always just you want to blame something. You want to find the mass media, and then as a result, people, people in general want to find one cause for everything. We can rally behind it and blame this. I'm glad this time around, it's gun if like they're actually talking about gun legislation, gun stuff, because that keeps getting thrown around in like previous events. Like, well, now's not the time for politics. People are mourning. We can't talk about it now. Now it's like, well, some would argue that students are being used as a political tool. Well, either way, they are. Either side of the argument, it's true. But if they're passionate about that argument themselves and they're like speaking out on their own, then I don't know. It's refreshing that the conversation is escalating more this time, I guess. Mm-hmm. Even though it fucking sucks that what happened had to happen for it to get to this point.
Yeah, it sucks that people actually have to die, and that lots of people have to die. But we just want to don't be hating on the game so much. There's a lot of other things that, and it's probably not just necessarily one thing, but like you were saying, you can't really. It's probably a few things, but.
And I mean, it's tale as old as time as far as this argument goes. Like, whoever the guardians are of children, have to regulate the content based on how they feel. Yeah. That's a family to family basis. And if you're not regulating what your child is consuming, then
it's your fault.
It's your fault. It is your fault.
Yeah. It's your fault.
For sure. It is your fault.
I mean, it might,
That's not to say the child isn't going to go out of their way to get around you, but I'm talking about really young children. Like,
right.
You don't have to let a kid, get into this stuff early in life. You don't have to let them watch radar movies when they're 4 years old, You have the ability to avoid that as their guardians. So, and that's the tale as old as time with violent movies, violent music, violent books even, I'm sure that was that had to have been a
comic books.
Comic books, yes. At the turn of the 20th century, it was a huge deal, comic books.
Oh, yeah.
Way back when.
Yeah, people thought those were evil, too.
So there was another politician, I can't remember his name, earlier last week who kind of started this thing with violent video games. And he said something along the lines of, I don't have the quote right here, but something along the lines of, I know there's a rating system, but we all know that kids play the game anyway, even if it's an M-rated game. And I'm like, well, like we were saying, that's the parents' fault. That's the parents' fault. Bottom line. If I was allowed to play
do these kids have jobs? Are they earning this money and then going and buying this game themselves? I mean, while they're like in elementary school?
Even if they are in high school or whatever, the parents can get rid of the game. The parents can tell the kid, oh, I'm taking your phone unless you delete the game. They can search the child's room.
Yeah. They can delete their save files. Kids hate that.
Flip the mattress over, find whatever the kid is hiding and throw it out. Like, have some balls, parents, take charge. If you don't want your kid to play those violent games, then you get rid of it.
Yeah.
But
don't let them get any of those,
and likewise, if you're
simulators.
like, you want to watch these radar movies, but you don't want to like do it when your kid's asleep or whatever, and you just have your kid there with you while you're watching them because it's like an extra babysitter while the kid's watching the movie. Well, that's your fault for letting the kid watch Friday the 13th, part 17 or whatever.
I think there's only 10 of them, but
okay.
Whatever. They made it there yet. I mean, Jason was a kid, so he knows.
I like that there was 10 of them. I wasn't even really that far off in it.
I think there's Jason X, which is actually not 10, but I think it is actually 10. I don't know. This isn't a Friday the 13th podcast. That's actually, if you want to hear a Friday the 13th podcast, Jess and I did one for the Honey Darling show. You can check that out. We did Friday the 13th versus Nightmare on Elm Street. You can listen to that episode. But, anyway, let's move on. I think we've covered enough, but, I like that we actually were able to talk on a serious subject. I know most of it's joking on the podcast, but, we just had to get real every once in a while. Only took 110 episodes, but we got there. I'm kidding. We were probably real before. We were actually real on our very first episode. You should listen.
You
should listen to that one.
I never really thought of video games as therapy. I mean, I'm sure I've heard of it in the past in different ways, but I am pretty intrigued by the thought of video game therapy to deal with trauma. Like, that's something I actually don't know if I would get into that field. I would have to go to school and stuff. I'm sure.
It should be more embraced.
I would still be interested in seeing what like the approaches are with it, because especially like John was mentioning with VR and stuff. Like, well, I saw another video today, and I don't remember exactly where I saw it. It was either on Reddit or Facebook or whatever, but it was putting VR helmets on children that were getting vaccines. Mm-hmm. So they were getting their shots. Well, while the kids are getting their shots, they're seeing in VR like this like character like that's giving them superpowers. So like. He puts like a little bracelet on them, and it's like that gives them the power to shoot fire or whatever. And he's like, well, when I put this on you, you're going to feel a little sting real quick, but that's because the power is attaching to you. Well, that's when the person comes up and gives them the shot.
Mm-hmm.
But within the game, they're like getting a superpower, so they're excited about it. Don't even notice the shot.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a cool way that video games are. It's not necessarily therapy, but
Mm-hmm.
it falls into the same.
It helps. Yeah.
Could run the.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole other thing that could make the healthcare for that more expensive with the VR stuff. But no, I do like the
Or
idea
cheaper.
of that. Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. I like stuff like that, especially like on the psychological level. You know, just being like allowing to help people out. Or like, what about people who can't walk and they play games where they can walk? You know, like stuff like that.
Yeah, it's therapeutic. And
Yeah.
I've seen people at like nursing homes, they'll bring it to a nursing home and I saw one particular video where a guy used to be a pilot, but now he was disabled and, he's in his 70s and everything. And he was able to put the headset on and fly a plane again. When he took the headset off,
Yeah.
he was just in tears.
Mm-hmm. Cause you actually get to feel it. Yeah, definitely. That's what I like to see for video game positivity.
I mean, I remember back when the Wii was at its height of popularity, and I remember reading about like bowling leagues at nursing homes where they were all playing like Wii bowling, and they were like doing whole leagues with it and stuff, and like having a great time. And
Yeah, I worked at a nursing home at the time. I got to run a Wii bowling league.
Oh, nice.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it was
really
grandmas were playing it and all that.
hitting each other in the face with the Wii
being violent with those Wii remotes.
remote.
All right, yeah, for sure. I think we should move on though. But
What
no,
about that time when Marilyn Manson? I'm just kidding.
when he cut off his ribs so he could put a Wiimote in there, right? Was that what it was? Anyway, let's talk about what games we've been playing. Jereme beat a game this week.
What'd you beat?
I beat Bayonetta 2.
You did. And how did you like it? You made it all the way through. Was it
I heard that line that I said at the beginning of the episode a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I played it through on normal mode. I didn't play it on hard or extra super hard or whatever, but I didn't play it on easy either.
Yeah.
Played on normal.
You just gotta do I think I only died once when I did the playthrough at the end there. You gotta get really good with that dodge. Did you ever get the bat dodge? Did you ever get that upgrade?
That's the first thing I bought.
Yeah, that thing really helps too. Where like you can be late on it, but you'll still. An interesting thing, I didn't figure this out until I was actually playing it, but when you unlock Jean or John or however you pronounce her name, at the end of the game, if you play as her, she can't do, the only way that she can do witch time is if you do the bat move.
Oh, so you have to wait till they are actually in contact with you.
Yeah, they have to actually hit you for it to do it, which is insane because I tried playing as her and I was like fucking up left and right. And I'm like, why am I not doing, why can't I do the witch time? And I thought maybe it was because it was harder because I was playing in a hard mode, but I still couldn't do the witch mode. And I was like, and I found out later you can't. The only time you can do witch time with her is, if you get hit and use the bat move. So now if you play her later, you won't get discouraged and be like, why am I fucking up so much? That was like driving me crazy. But apparently you can get some like really huge combos with her because of that. Because of that, like, you'll get more points when you're in witch time when you play as her. Because it's harder to get to witch time, as it would be with Bayonetta. But, did you end up getting all the costumes, or did you get some of the costumes? I know you said earlier.
Well, here's the thing.
Some,
here's how I played the game. I wanted to get all the moves. That's all I cared about. But I also used Amiibo, so some might say I cheated a little bit. I think I probably just sped up myself getting through the game a little faster.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's cheating.
But I used my Amiibo, and I was like thrilled with the Amiibo. I think I might have talked about. Did I talk about it last episode?
Well, you said that. But you said you hadn't opened all of them, but you were thinking.
Well, I ended up opening up my 3-pack of Animal Crossing Amiibo, and I'm glad I did because they give me like 12,000 Halos each day.
Oh yeah.
They give me the most out of any of them for some reason.
Yeah, so you can get. Oh really? Yeah, I hope it's all of the Animal Crossing ones because those are the ones that they can't sell. They'd be like, have them.
Yeah, that might
more.
be why.
Yeah.
It says something about like a freaky UFO or something when you scan it. It's like weird. It doesn't say anything about fishing or whatever, but
yeah. I think you can find UFOs in some of them.
So I ended up, let me count them. I ended up having 9 Amiibo total to scan each day. and that helped a lot. So I bought all the moves, but I never changed costumes. Like I never bought I did buy one alternate costume. The very first one that's available.
Because I know.
But I unlocked them all. I just haven't purchased all of them.
Yeah, because they're like 100,000, and 100,000 is. I think you get that. You get a pretty big amount when you beat the game. Like at the very end, they throw you a lot of halos.
It gives you about $100,000.
Yeah, because you can buy. Because I remember I bought the Star Fox outfit after that. After I beat the game for the.
I was more into buying
for the 100,000.
The whatever they're called, accessories. So I bought those next, and I bought the one where they're always pissed off at you, like you've taunted them already.
Yeah.
I bought that one, and then I bought the Pulse Butterfly or whatever it's called, which is like it gives these butterflies that absorb hits. Mm-hmm. Between that and like the other thing, and then the bat, like I was getting crazy witch time, like Halo scores, and then the butterflies were protecting me when they would hit me. So I would either dodge correctly, or I would do the bat dodge, or they would hit me and then hit the butterfly instead. So I had this triple layer of protection, and
nice.
And getting a bunch of halos that way. And the last boss was actually pretty easy.
I was gonna say it probably helps with the. Whenever you get into those challenge modes where you have to get through a whole thing without getting hit or whatever, you could actually use that for that.
Yeah. I did not do all those. I only did a couple of those.
Some of those
there's still a lot left for me to do, but I beat the main story, so I was happy with that.
Are you planning on playing it again? I mean, I know you said you were having a lot of fun with it last week.
I think so. I'm playing through the first one now. So I'm about maybe a quarter of the way through the first one now, just playing it again.
Does it feel
not as fun?
Yeah, I was gonna say, does it feel slow or not? Not.
It just feels there's less stuff going on. I don't have the animal transformations that I liked a lot.
You can still turn into a cat thing, right? When you run in that first.
Can
one?
You? I don't remember.
I think you can.
Maybe I haven't gotten to that point yet.
I think it's a different. I don't think it's the panther one, but you do turn into something. I remember because I played that one first, and you could do that. But I don't think you can do the moth or whatever, the floaty one that you can do. I don't think you can do that.
But it's an incredibly satisfying game when you're playing it right and you're just dodging at all the right moments and all that, and you can look at your replays. I've been it lets you save your replays on the Switch, so I've gotten a few of me getting the pure platinums that look cool.
Oh yeah, you can do the 30-second, which I saw you tweet one. I saw a Twitter of that.
I did, and that was the first one I got, and I've gotten so many better ones since then, but that was the first pure platinum I got. So that's when you get, you don't hit at all, and you perfectly dodge every time or whatever.
The pure, I saw, I looked at, some strategy stuff, after I beat the game, and there's, people talking about, how to get through the whole thing, all pure platinums and stuff like that, which sounds insane, but, that type of game, you can do it. You can actually go through it without getting hit and all that, if you're good enough, But that's what's cool about it. It's it's supposed to entice you to keep playing the game over and over again and get better and better and better. That's the idea. That's why the game's only really 10 hours long or whatever. It's about
the story didn't mean shit, which I assumed, but the story was cool enough, I guess. Very comic booky.
Yeah, it's silly and over the top,
but you don't really feel at the end of it, I didn't really feel attached to any character at all.
No.
I thought Bayonetta was still a badass.
Yeah.
Ass kicker. Enzo wasn't in it much. He's pretty funny. So it was kind of sad that he wasn't in it as much, but he was still comic relief. And then,
you didn't get attached to Squirtle Boy?
No, Squirtle, are you talking about, the
little one?
The cornrows?
Yeah, the guy who turns into the squirrel, the tiny guy. You said that at the beginning of the episode last week, that don't call me little one, but we never really talked about him. But yeah, he's
Cornrow Man.
Yeah, Cornrow Man. Yeah, he has a pyramid necklace that he wears, and he turns into a squirrel and all that. It's a great game, John. You should definitely check it out.
He's pretty, insufferable.
Sounds like a fun game.
But he's also a kid, so it's forgivable that he's such a jackass.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you.
Bayonetta goes out on a limb for him a lot, so it's weird seeing her care that much about this character that really sucks.
Did you understand all the timelines and stuff? This is kind of spoilery, I guess. If anybody does want to hear this, I don't know.
I understood
skip 2 minutes or something.
I understood. Her parents.
That she was fighting her parents pretty much, and that was her dad.
Yeah.
The Lumen Sage and the Umbra Witch are her parents, but they were in two different time zones or timelines, because the game starts at the end of the game, weirdly enough, and then at the end of the game she says, "Come back to my timeline" or something. I didn't get all the timelines, but there is different times going on that she goes from one spot to another. And I'm sure you like those mechs in there at the very end. Those are cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I liked a lot of the boss fights are pretty fun, and that's one thing I love about Bayonetta. It feels like boss rush mode, the whole thing. Like, you've got a few little battles here and there, but even those feel like boss battles in a sense because they're waves of enemies. So, but yeah, I totally feel like it's boss rush mode. Like, I would never know starting a chapter if I was going to fight a boss immediately when I started it or not. And that was fun. Like, I love that.
Now that you've beaten Bayonetta, do you have any desire to go play Wonderful 101?
I do, and I own it.
They're similar, so. Yeah. No, I was saying you should. I was wondering, like, maybe if you got done with Bayonetta 1 or you got bored with it or whatever, you should definitely go check out Wonderful 101 because the games are very similar. And coming into Wonderful 101 after just playing Bayonetta 2, you'll really be able to see, like, how close they are and how the games kind of work the same. And you also already know how to play it, whereas, like, when I came into Wonderful 101 the first time, I had no idea what was going on and I didn't know how to play it. But then when I returned to it for our 101 episode, I got it. But once I realized that it was like Bayonetta, I was like, oh, okay. And then you actually do get a witch time thing and you do unlock Bayonetta and John and all that in there. So it's very much the same game. So you should definitely go to that at some point. You know, if you feel like, you know, kicking the dust off the Wii U and getting back into that one, it's definitely worth checking out. Like,
I mean, I'm going to kick the dust off the Wii U to get some Wii games, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. For the, virtual console, or, yeah, the only virtual console that we have, aside from those, Super Nintendo stuff.
And the 3DS.
Yeah, but I'm glad you made it through, and I'm glad that you liked it, and that you enjoyed it. It's a good game.
Yeah, I'm happy to say I've beaten both Bayonettas.
Yeah. I'm glad that you liked it. It's definitely good. I'm glad you got it. So it's, I realized, playing through it before our Bayonetta episode, I was like, man, this game's a lot of fun. I was like, you should definitely, so I want to say, like, you should definitely check it out if you're on the fence for it. You should definitely get it. Cause it's a shit
excited for that third one now, Jeremy?
Oh yeah. I mean, when's it come out? April?
I don't, it doesn't have a date yet. Some people are thinking it may not even come out this year, but that's to be seen.
I mean, I'm not like chomping at the bit because I've got plenty of Bayonetta now.
I mean, you got both.
Especially if Wonderful 101's like that too.
Yeah, I would think that they would wait, maybe, since they just released both of them. Maybe it would come out early next year or something. I mean, I don't know.
I'm gonna guess Christmas.
Do you think that would be their big Christmas game, is Bayonetta 3? I figured they might have.
I think it'll be one of their games. I don't know if it'll be the big game, but it makes sense to me that they released Bayonetta 1 and 2 to kind of stir the pot, get people excited. They don't want to wait too long.
It's to stir the cauldron.
Yeah, they are witches.
Oh, true. Stir the cauldron. Yes.
Yeah. And it's a fun game. I beat some games this week. I was pretty happy about it. I ended up doing like a stream. I did a stream on Twitch where I just kind of run with it. I did I started off with a Zeo Drifter, which I was talking about last week. I got to beat I played the last of that. I started doing like a Twitch stream where I beat 3 games in a row. I was like I did Zeo Drifter, and then I was kind of like, let's keep it going. I'm like, what else do I have that I'm almost done with? So I went Zeo Drifter to Mummy Demastered to Rogue Trooper Redo, or Redux. And I beat all the 3 of those games like one after another, so that felt really good. Knocked those off my list. The next 2 games in my sight is, Resident Evil Revelations 2 and Doom. I want to beat those games, which think I'm fairly close to beating. Well, I got stuck on Resident Evil on a boss, but those are my next ones, but.
You've beaten Doom before, right? Not on the Switch, but so you would know where you were.
No, I didn't beat it. I didn't beat it on PS4.
Oh, I thought you had.
I got farther on the Switch than I did on the PS4 because I played it on Conan's PS4, and then I bought a PS4 and I had to restart the game, so I kind of got discouraged from playing it. That's basically what happened. But yeah, so I think I have like 3 or 4 levels left in Doom. I don't think I'm as close as I was in the other ones, but I did exactly what I said I was going to do last week. I went and played Mummy Demastered without the update, and I beat it. And I actually ran into a weird glitch for the boss, though, which I wondered if that was an update thing. Did you guys watch my video of it? The boss basically stops attacking me for like 10 minutes, and I just beat him. At like the major boss of the game, he completely stops moving, and I just stand in one spot and shoot him until he dies. So that had to be a glitch, or maybe the update fixed that, but it kind of.
He was the old boss they cast aside with the update. They're like, fuck you.
Well,
He's I don't have a reason to live. Just kill me.
Well, I didn't get the update though. I intentionally didn't get it because I didn't want to
get the update.
Yeah, I didn't want to I didn't want it to be easier. I wanted to play it as on the level that it was, and I did beat it. But halfway through the boss just stopped attacking me. Then I just kind of stood under him and just kept shooting him until he died. And I was like, that was weird because he just stopped. And I was about to die too, and I guess I kind of got a cheap ending on that one, but I still beat it, so.
You beat it.
Yeah, I still made it through that one. So it was cool. I got to knock off like 3 games on my list of, because I have a lot of games that I've been playing and I haven't even finished any, and I was like, man, if I keep this up, I can like beat a game every week. I'll try to do that, you know. Try to knock all of these games on the Switch that I have that haven't actually made it all the way through. But Zeo Drifter was fun all the way through. The ending was pretty cool. Like the last boss part had a nice little extra thing on there. That was cool. The Rogue Trooper, I still like that game. Some people give it shit, but it basically plays like a PlayStation 2 GameCube era shooter, you know, and the boss is very much like that. It kind of reminds me of like Red Faction 1, if you ever played that, or Red Faction 2. Like that kind of like where it sort of has a boss and it just kind of ends like
Does it have destructible environments?
No, it doesn't have destructible environments like that. But the play of it reminds me that I played through Red Faction 2 on GameCube. But yeah, you can't blow holes in anything, but it does remind me of that style, like that time play. But my biggest achievement of the week, which we haven't even talked about, which was my intro, was that I beat the fucking darker side on Super Mario Odyssey. Hey. That's what I asked you guys last week if you had beaten or not. I made it through that shit.
You did.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. I kind of
better, man.
I kind of cheated
you
a
cheated
little bit.
Though, right?
I kind of cheated, but I mean, it's weird because it's so easy to do it. Like it's really easy. Like it's way easier to skip the whole thing than actually play it the way it's supposed to be played. Because like we were talking about that jump thing that Jereme was doing, and actually there's a way to skip that completely too. Like that whole part where you have to jump off the wall, so you can completely skip that as well. And I saw this in a video, but if you stand on top of it, on top of where the scarecrow is, if you can shake it to where you throw your hat under it and hit the scarecrow, it'll just bring you all the way up. Like it'll just elevate you all the way to the top, and you won't have to do anything. I shook the fuck out of that controller, but I could not get it down there. But I've seen it work. Because you have to like shake it forward and then shake it down because the hat has to go under it and hit the scarecrow. But if you can do that, you can completely skip that whole part. But yeah, I got to the dinosaur gliding thing, and I basically flew over most of the level. But it's yeah, that's basically what I did, and I beat it. You skip like two hard parts by doing that. Actually, you skip like 3 hard parts, maybe 4 parts by doing that. It's funny that it's in there. It's very much a Mario thing. Like I remember Jereme telling me back in the day on the Game Boy Advance version of Super Mario World, how he like flew over Tubular. Tubular's like the worst level on that game. And I kind of felt like that. I was like, oh yeah, I flew over it and then I beat it. And I'm like, oh yeah, now I'm done. I beat Darker Side. So, yeah, I kind of cheated. There's a video on YouTube, you can find it, a thing made her. So I sort of cheated, but at the same time, it's something that it doesn't take a whole lot to figure out how to do it. You know, like if you suck at using the floating dinosaur thing like I do, it makes it a lot easier to just do that, you know. So that was my big achievement of the week. But
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
But that should give you guys incentive to make it through now, right? Of the Dark
Yeah. I might watch your video.
Because once I decided that I was going to beat it, I was just like, I'm going to play this until I beat it.
Well, now
I'm curious with the gliding dinosaur.
And I recorded all of it. Well, I basically recorded every try until I got it, and then I cut it down to just the one that I got it. So I played it like 20 times before I like got to that actual one. But yeah, it was.
Well, with the gliding dinosaur, you jump off the ledge, and what are you flying to? Because I remember you're flying past those like buzzing fly things, whatever they are.
Oh yeah, the dust mites from the Miyazaki movie. They look like they're like from Totoro or Spirited Away.
Spirited Away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they're in Totoro.
But then
as well.
the way that you're supposed to land on this ledge, where I think that's the part where you're throwing your head onto the forks and flicking yourself across the lava, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can fly.
That's where you're supposed to land.
You can fly past all
that. I didn't remember seeing anywhere else where you could land at that part.
Oh no, you could. Actually, the first time that I did it, I completely bypassed the forks. Like I flew completely past the forks.
So you just kept shaking the controller to get higher and higher, and you flew right past it.
Yep, it's basically all you do. Is you just shake the fuck out of the controller. Spoilers. You shake the fuck out of the controller,
I didn't know that about
and the dinosaur thing just flies higher.
To the level and try it with the lizard.
Well, like if you shake the controller, like everything works faster or quicker, you know. So I should have figured it out. It's like there were some moons that I thought I could only get by shaking the controller because it makes you jump higher. Like I did that with the frog a couple times, I think. Like in the Hat world, like in the very first world you go to. That looks like it's out of a Tim Burton movie. You know what I'm talking about? The very, very first level you go to where it's like the giant, the hat and the moon and all that.
Yeah,
there was like one that's really, really high that I had to shake the controller to get that. And I guess I just shook the fuck out of it. And you do have to dive. You have to make a dive. Cause like once you get to the last part, it'll automatically throw you off of the dinosaur. So all you have to do is just dive after that, and then you'll make it to the next part, and you skipped like pretty much half the level. Skip the hardest parts, and then you just be done after that. Which you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I just kind of did it to see if it would work, and I ended up beating it in that way. I guess that makes me less of a player because I didn't play it all the way through, but whatever.
It was a legit means of beating the game.
Yeah. I mean,
you use the game's own system.
Yeah, I broke the game. Or I mean, I found a way to do it that's in the game. So I was kind of more interested in doing it that way actually than the regular way. I was like, really? I can fly over like everything? I'm gonna fucking do that. Cause I am so bad at controlling that fucking floating lizard thing that I couldn't even do it like the regular way. Cause I can never do it. I always like just automatically dive bomb. I cannot like control that fucker. I was never able to get any of the moons with him. So once I finally beat that part where like the walls jut out, which we talked about last week, by the time I finally got through that, which that's in its own thing, I was like, oh yeah, and then I saw that fucking lizard thing and I'm like, no, fuck that guy, I hate that guy. And then I died and I turned the system off and went to bed. That's what I did that night. I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm not going back. I don't want to fuck with that guy. I'll deal with it another time. So I had to like rage quit right when I saw that guy. I was like, no, not that dude. So it did take me a few times to get through. But yeah, you can totally do it. It can be done. I did it.
I'm going to try again right after we're done recording.
Yeah, for sure. So, what else did I want to say that I played? Oh, I played a little bit of the Doom motion control stuff. I didn't really care for it, but I tried it. Did you guys try it out at all? Or did you try it and you have it? Yeah.
I don't have it.
Yeah, I got the update and I tried it a little bit. I'm not really into it. It doesn't, well, actually what's cool about the Doom version is that I feel like it's a little better than because Splatoon, like if you have the motion control on, that's the only way you can look up and down is with motion control. Whereas Doom, you can actually play with the regular analog sticks. It's just, you can also do the motion. So you can like tweak it. You can like play it a little bit and then like move it a little bit to tweak it. So I guess that's a better way to do it. But also it's you have to like kind of sit still while you're playing because if you move a little bit, it'll like, aim way off. But I tried it out just to try it out. And I also tried out to see like where I was at on the whole thing of like trying to beat the game soon. So, but I did, yeah, I dabbled a little bit with the aiming control. But I also played Heroic Episode. It's like a new, arcade classic game. It's another IREM game that came out last week. I bought that one just because I keep thinking that their arcade games are going to be good, and they end up being brutally hard. I ended up just dying on the first level multiple times and then rage quitting. You can watch that on YouTube too if you want to watch it. But, the two games that I got that I'm really into and I actually want to talk about, I know it's like almost towards the end of the episode or whatever, but the ones I really want to talk about is, the Pac-Man Championship Edition 2 and Outlast, which they're both good from what I played. Let's talk about Pac-Man first. Like Pac-Man's really good. I don't know if you guys played the first one, Pac-Man Championship Edition, but so
I've got one on the 360 and I wonder if that's the one.
I think you have the first one probably. Cause I had Pac-Man Championship Edition 1. I got it on PlayStation Plus, like it was a free game. So that's how I played it. But I had a lot of fun with it. But 2 seems a lot more frantic than the first one was. And I don't remember you having to, cause like there's ghost chains in both of them. And, in the one on Switch, which isn't that new, I think it came out last year or something. But, you have to attack the ghost from the front, like you have to hit the front ghost in order to defeat the train. You can't do it from the back. And I think you could do that on the first one. But it's really cool. There's a really fun 2-player mode on there. I wish it was online, but who gets that? But you basically, you're 2 different Pac-Men going and collecting, the pills separately and then you gotta run into each other and that's how you beat the level. And you do the same thing with Ghosts too, where you both kind of like sandwich a ghost and take them out like that. But yeah, the game's like, I know like John has an affinity for Pac-Man, that he has a Pac-Man arcade machine and all that. But, I find Pac-Man kind of boring. Like, I mean, I like the game for what it is, but playing it in itself is kind of like, okay, cool, I can get some ghosts and then go to the next level, but there's not a whole lot to do. This one actually I find fun because it's like super frantic, it's like harder, and there's like a checklist where you have to collect all the fruit and all that, so it's totally worth getting if you're into like frantic arcade stuff. And you can change the way the characters look, you can like alter the way you can make it like look like the older Pac-Man, or you can make it like 3D Pac-Man, or you can do that in the first Pac-Man Championship game as well, but you can do all that on there, and I totally recommend it for Pac-Man fans. I was listening to the NBC episode last week, and they didn't even mention Pac-Man at all in their releases for the Switch. Way to fuck
Seems
up,
like a big one to miss.
Completely skipped
we still have to
Pac-Man
play Pac-Man
Championship
versus.
Edition. Yeah, I have it, and I still haven't played that one yet, because I think I don't know if you can do any sort of single-player stuff. I thought about doing a video of it, but I don't think you can. Yeah, so we have to figure out some sort of way to record that and, record it with extra cameras and stuff.
Did either of you ever play the multiplayer Pac-Man that they have they have them at the Dave & Buster's over here. I think they have it at probably most Dave & Buster's. Is that a variant of Pac-Man Championship Edition?
I don't know. I never played it. Can you explain how it works?
I don't remember exactly how it works. I've only tried it once or twice, but it's a multiplayer Pac-Man game. So like 4 players playing it at one time. Yeah. I think you can attack each other. I don't recall exactly.
Well, I mean, the 2-player mode in Championship Edition is definitely not like that, because you're 2 different Pac-Men working together. It's like a co-op thing. And the way like the basic game works on the regular single player is you'll collect a certain amount of dots to make a fruit appear, and then you get the fruit and then you go to the next stage. That's basically how it works. But sometimes you'll collect enough of the dots to make the dot appear to where you attack the ghosts, and you have to kill all the ghosts in a certain amount of time for you to go to the next thing, and then you get another fruit. And there is like bosses of sorts where you fight like big ghosts that are made out of multiple little ghosts, which is kind of cool. So there is like some boss modes at the end. But it's like it's like 1-1 through like 1-11, and 1-11 is the boss mode. So there's like an adventure mode kind of like that you can play. But there's also endless where you can just go and try to get scores and all that stuff. But like I said, if you like the old school arcade games, it's totally worth playing.
Well, I played the first one on the 360, and I really liked it. So
yeah, it's good.
I really like this one.
Yeah, no, it's $20, but it's totally worth it if you like I said, if you want like fast-paced arcade stuff that doesn't feel boring at all. I think it's totally worth it. I mean, I had fun playing it. Like I played through the first full level sets, and I was playing around with it last night, like just to refresh myself for the episode and all that. And it's still fun to play. But on the other one, which we said at the very, very beginning.
Yeah, I forget, wasn't Pac-Man why we were talking about switch dicks? Was that the reference there?
I think it was.
Yeah, the ghost totally got dicks. No, also, like we said earlier in our news segment, Outlast came out this week, completely secretly, creepily, came out of nowhere, and I was playing the game last night, and there's fucking full-on naked dudes in there. Like, I saw a dick on a Nintendo system for the first time, and I was definitely not expecting that in any way. There's naked guys in the game.
Not only that, but they're chasing after you, right?
No, it's pretty funny. Like, you walk down a hallway, and it's not expected at all. Like, a lot of the game is like super dark, so you play a lot of it looking through a camera using night vision, to see most of the things. And I'm just walking down a hallway, and all of a sudden this naked guy walks up to me holding like a piece of wood or whatever. Well, he's got his wood, but also the piece of wood, And basically I'm like, oh shit, and he's just standing in the middle of the hallway, and I'm like, I can't get around him. I try to get around him anyway, and he kills me. I'm like, okay. So like you have to like jump out the window and like climb down the side of the window and come back around him. But yeah, this total naked dude just walks right up to you with his dick just hanging out, and I'm like, oh my god. I haven't posted on Twitter yet, but I'm totally going to do it after we get done recording this podcast. But yeah, there's a full-on frontal nudity in a Nintendo game, and I'm like, wow, okay. And when I bought the game and I was loading the game, it said like mature, awkward sexual instances is like what it said in the mature thing, and I'm like, oh really? What is that?
Awkward sexual.
Yeah, that's all 3 of those.
And I was like, oh, well, there's a dick in there. Yeah. Yeah, full frontal nudity. So, let me explain what Outlast is pretty much. It was a Steam game, right? It's a PC game. It's definitely scary. Like I played it, I wanted to make sure I was at my mom's house last night, and I'm like, I don't live at my mom's house, so everything feels like not as comfortable as it would my own house. So I'm like, I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it in the dark with all the lights off, and just let it freak me out. That's like what I'm going to do. And that was my plan. So I put my headphones on, I sat in bed, like turned all the lights off, like started playing it.
Were you playing handheld mode?
Well, yeah. I didn't bring my dock with me or anything like that. I just played it. I played it in bed, and there were a couple times that freaked me out. There were a lot of like jump scares, but the way the game works is you show up at this like mental institution, a bunch of shit happens, you get stuck in different areas, you're trying to find your way out. Is basically how it works, and you don't get any weapons in the game, so most of it is running from guys. So I felt like it was really, really scary until I kind of figured out until I get like killed multiple times by the same guy and I can't really figure out where I'm going. Then I kind of got taken out of it, And it's kind of annoying that you can't fight anybody ever. It kind of reminds me of that Silent Hill game, the Silent Hill Shattered Memories on Wii, which I love that game. That game was awesome. But the same sort of thing, you had no weapons. But in that one, you could, like, shake people off at least. You could, like, use the Wiimote to shake the demons off of you. And there was also, like, there were two different parts. There was, like, an exploring part, and then there was the demon part. And when you got to the demon part, like, everything would freeze over. And then you had to run and all that. So there were sections that were different. Which I guess some people criticized it for that, but I thought it was great. Also, you had a phone on the Wiimote, and you could actually, listen to people talk to you through the Wiimote speaker, which was weird. But it kind of reminded me of that. But it's kind of like a lot of it's like cat and mouse, I guess. It's like you getting chased by these big dudes that you can't defeat, and you're just trying to figure out. Like, there's a part where you gotta, like, restart the generator, or, like, you're trying to get out, like, the lights get shut off, and then you gotta go through and, like, try not to disturb a guy who's, like, chasing you or whatever. But one thing I thought was really interesting about it is there's, like, no music in this game. It's, like, only, like, the sound of, like, you, like, your character, like, breathing heavily, and, like, just the sound of whatever you're walking, like, your footsteps, or if you're in the water. Like, there's really not any music, except, like, when you die, it's like, no, like that. But there's no, like, music.
Is sound part of the atmosphere then, where, like, you'll hear things coming up behind you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you'll hear people walking around. You'll hear people talk that you don't know, like, kind of scary talking. They'll be like, oh, what's that? Where's that guy? Or there'll be, like, some sort of, like, insane gibberish that you'll hear, which also kind of reminded me of Doom 2 on 64. Where there's a mental asylum thing that you go to where a guy's, like, hitting his head against a window and his blood everywhere. Like, it reminded me of that sort of thing where you just see a lot of crazy people just hanging out being strange. Cause there's a lot of levels about that there's a part where you go through a room of guys just staring at a static TV and they just don't do anything. They just sit there and watch the static TV and they're alive.
Are they naked?
No, they're wearing clothes. The naked guy happened later. Well, that was in the shower area when I found
Does he have a TV?
The naked guy? No, there's no TV. But yeah, no, there's
weird. Why he's naked.
There's weird stuff like that where you'll come.
No TV.
Got TV. Might as well.
There's weird parts where you'll come by guys that won't move, and then later you'll come back and they're gone, and you'll be like, oh shit, and then they'll come back to you later. Like, there's stuff like that. It's very much like jump scares, but it's definitely scary. It's $25. You get all of the DLC for the original with it. I guess there's.
I thought you were just gonna say you get all the D.
You get all the D, yes. All D. We got real
all
serious.
The L's and all the C's.
I say we got real serious about violence. Now it's all dick jokes. That's what happens to this podcast. But, yeah. Yeah, you get all the DLC from the original game, so there's like a prequel in there as well. But I don't know, if you like scary games, like, I'd recommend definitely play it with the lights off, I think playing it in handheld makes it scarier, I guess, like having it in your hand or whatever. But and it's not very long, I guess. I heard that it's like maybe 5 or 6 hours. But I'd like to play through the rest of it. I want to do a stream of me, like, getting freaked out and all that, but I don't have a camera to show me. But it's
you screaming into the mic and stuff.
I could. I mean, I thought about, because I think I'm in the second part of it, and there's like 6 parts. So that's how far I got, because I kind of got stuck at one point. That's the thing, is it's like, it's scary until you, like, get stuck for a while, and then it's not that scary anymore. It's just kind of more frustrated. It's just more irritating. Yeah, that was the big problem I had with it. That it kind of took me out of it. It's like, okay, I have to restart this generator. I don't know where the fucking generator is, and I keep getting killed by the same guy, Or like I'm at a part where I know I got to run from this dude, but I don't know where to go, and he keeps killing me, and stuff like that. So, but it's totally worth a look. I mean, it was something I had seen videos of before, and I had heard people talk about and all that, so I definitely want to check it out. Plus, I love survival horror stuff, so it's a lot scarier than Resident Evil Revelations 2, but you can at least kill people in that one. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Outlast. Hopefully, maybe I'll have it done by next week, and I can definitely give you my thoughts on on the end game.
It'll be one of your 5 games you beat this week.
Well, I'm hoping to add it to the list, or I'll have a couple that I beat next week.
Well, we're gonna play Mulaka. We'll both play that. We'll race to beat that one too.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna play Mulaka. Hopefully, it's not super short, but I don't know. It looks really pretty, and I'm hoping that it's good. I mean, we already preloaded it, so we'll both have it ready to rock tomorrow.
I mean, I think historians recently found out like Mayan culture existed earlier than they thought, so yeah, it'll be a long game.
It's gonna exist till now. Is basically what you're saying. It'll go on forever.
It starts earlier than we used to think it did.
For sure. I was gonna talk about my Skies of Arcadia stuff too, but I think we're kind of long on the episode. So
did you beat it?
No, I'm 20 hours in though. I'm making my way. And actually,
all of that is documented on YouTube.
It is. I got 40 hours left, but Are
you playing that through the Wii on progressive scan mode?
I'm playing it through the Wii and progressive scan 480i because it does not have progressive scan on it. But yeah, it's I noticed a big difference. Like I kind of found the right way to do it where it's still in like 4:3. But check it out. Like if you guys haven't watched it, watch it on YouTube. Watch it between like 8 and 9 were the ones that I started doing the Wii. Watch like between 7 and 8 and you really notice a huge difference between the two of them. You know, it looks a lot better. And I played it on HD TV now and all that. And I get it. I get the reason for doing it, but I wish I had a way to play it on both, where I could play it on the Tube TV and have an HD thing. It'd be nice if somebody would just make like the GameCube Switch that you had, but one that's just for AV plugs, where you can just plug it in there and then it'll be 480 out of that. That would be really cool, because then you could do it for all the other systems. But yeah, I think that's our show for you. That's episode 110. Big whopper of an episode there for you, for all of you listeners. 110. Hopefully at an age that we'll live to whenever we get that old, because there'll be technology where we can put our brains in the internet and stuff. Maybe. If we want to be
alive, we're going
to
be pissed off old people for that much longer.
Yeah, it's like even if we want to be around by then, maybe by 70 we'll be like, fuck this, I'm out of here. I don't know. But anyway, thanks for listening. We've been your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson.
Jeremy Mikowski.
John Litter.
And you can find us at NintenDomainPodcast.com. I try to put links to the YouTube stuff that we do, and the episodes and the Facebook and stuff like that. You can message us from there. You can even donate to us too if you want to give us money to have more games to play. You could totally do it on there. It's on the NintenDomain podcast page. You can also, you can find the podcast pretty much anywhere that you can download podcasts. You can search it on the internet, find all that stuff. I also have a sister podcast, the Honey Darling Show. You can check that out. We're actually about to do our drunken Oscar commentary. We do it every year, so that'll be the next episode that'll be out next week. So if you guys like listening to two people get drunk and talk about the Oscars, should check it out. We actually edit it to like half the time of the Oscars, so the Oscars are like 3 hours, and I cut it down to like an hour or something. So
you don't talk about Naked Fishmen.
Naked Fishmen, are they in there this year? Oh yeah. That was actually my favorite movie that was nominated. So we'll definitely talk about that. But you can check that out. You can check out our YouTube channel. Like I said, youtube.com/Fingmater, FINGMATER, and twitch.tv/NintenDomain Podcast. We're streaming I stream every Thursday and Sunday. You can check out Malacca yesterday, because this will be up on Friday. But if you go there every Thursday, you can watch all of our new Twitch or new Switch streams on Twitch. Check that out. And of course, Skies of Arcadia on Sunday. Anyway, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Later. The term is Nintendix, by the way. Nintendix.
We're gonna change our show to Nintendick Mania. Nintendix. Well, yeah. All right, you guys get to bed. I'm gonna look at some Nintendo.
Nintendix for short.
I'm gonna Twitter that dick. twit that Nintendo dick.